Hello, this is Ivana.
This is Yaw.
And you're listening to the podcast Life in Black and White.
And all the shades in between.
We share all things life, relationships, marriage, parenting, race, and much more. If you enjoy listening to us, then please follow or subscribe to this podcast. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook under Life in Black and White. Hello, everyone. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the podcast Life in Black and White with Ivana and Yaw, or Ivanka and Yaw. Angel, do you realize this is our 16th episode?
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Oh, if you did
Wow.
some editing or producing, you would have known.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, not to brag, but I do all the heavy lifting here. Yeah, which is I enjoy that. Yeah, I do because it was all my idea. So I do planning. We do planning, but I do editing and producing, and I love it. So if you have any feedback on that, then send it my way. Yeah, just shows up and talks. You know what is funny, Angel? That many people, when I say we have a podcast, say, "Oh, that must be very hard, like from technical point of view." But I'm sure your husband knows these things. And I said, "Yeah, he does, but I do it." It's like people automatically assume you do all the tech stuff. Why?
I don't know. It shouldn't do, because obviously you do it.
Anyway, today's subject is actually raising bilingual kids.
You realise it would be more than that, though, right? Because it wouldn't just be bilingual if we were able to do what we wanted to do. It would be more than bilingual, wouldn't it?
Like multilingual.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for many people, I think, who have more than one language is two languages, and any additional is more rare, I'd say. But basically, yeah, our kids are half Slovak, half Ghanaian, or half British.
Half Ghanaian.
Or third.
It's half Ghanaian English. Put it that way. It's a mix of the both. Born here, but obviously the roots are from Ghana, right?
Yeah. And I knew right away, before we even had them, that I wanted my kids to speak my language. Yeah. Although Slovak is basically useless language, let's be honest. You don't really need it in the world or use it anywhere. But it's not about the actual language, which is something many people don't realize. And I know lots of people, our parents from Slovakia or equally small countries, who have, again, like children with like British person, for instance, and they don't want their kids to speak Slovak because they don't see like why should be, because they never use that language, they don't need it. And while that might be true to an extent, but for me personally, I couldn't imagine not having my children speak my language. It's just my first language. I mean, it's just that I feel like they wouldn't really know me. Yeah. They wouldn't know me, my background. Plus, like when I can play them our music, like legendary songs or old movies, this is how I actually feel like they get to know me a bit more. Plus, every language has its nuances now, so things I would never be able to tell them in English. So this was my main reason. But then now I see so many benefits. Like their brain works differently now. I can see that the fact they speak two languages, it just the brain. I don't want to say it works faster, but it just works differently. And it's just that feeling when like we come to Slovakia and I can see they can interact with people and switch the language just like that. I can't even describe that feeling. It's amazing, and it's a hard job to teach them. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It is hard, especially because I'm the only Slovakian in the family. I mean, immediate family. So it's on me 100%. And they're not fluent, but they can speak. But then I can see they aren't like the passport control, people ask them questions and they answer, it's like, oh my God, it pays off. Yeah. And then I
Yeah.
also feel safer knowing that they can come over and be able to talk, like people can't fool them or take advantage or whatever. They can communicate. They will not be lost whenever they come here. And I want them to feel welcome even when my parents are not around anymore. I want them to be able to come over and just know the culture. They wouldn't know the culture if they didn't speak the language. And that was very important to me, that they understand the culture and me. Yeah. So that's why. That's just to explain why I was so adamant to raise them bilingual, although it's bloody hard work. But we also have some fun, but on that a bit later. But now many people ask, do they also speak? And they ask, is it African language or is it Ghanaian language? And
It's
yeah,
Chi.
it's Chi,
Yeah.
but yeah, you talk about that, not me.
To be to be honest, it's just connecting to their heritage, isn't it? To
Yeah.
be honest, it's understanding that what what makes them whole isn't just either being here in the UK, either being here in England or being in Scotland, or you know, their heritage and their blood is a mix from a couple of different continents and things. It's what makes them who they are,
Exactly.
a part of who they are. So understanding, like you said, understanding you, um, on a deeper level, understanding both our families on a deeper level. I need that. So obviously, from my perspective, um, I think I always thought that I would learn Chi, but I
Mm,
didn't. As
yeah.
in, I learning to speak. In terms of speaking Chi, I I've always had a problem and stuff with it. My elder brothers and sisters always wanted me to. My mum and dad always wanted me to. But I think the time of me growing up and who I had and stuff around me, it was more of a case of I spoke English, and
Mm,
I did it all the time. When I was at home, my mum and dad used to speak to me in Chi, and I would reply back in English.
mm,
I remember on occasions when sister would mention, why are you not, when I was at my mum's, why are you not speaking in Chi? And I was like, but I'm English. It was a part of who you were at the time and who you interacted with.
mm,
So I can understand if I've been to Ghana a few times over the few years for one reason or another, and I understand when people are referring to, and talking to me in Chi, but I have a problem of um,
mm.
speaking back in Chi. So if someone's talking to me, um, I understand. I know what's going on. I know exactly what's
Yeah. That's
happening.
important. People can't fool you, you know.
Yeah, and it's not just that because like even with a Slovak, there's it's only minimal that kind of I've picked up. So a few little
Mm,
kind of phrases, little I'd love to dedicate the time to understand and speak my language,
mm-hmm,
and also pick up on Slovak. But I've always kind of maybe it's a bit of laziness, or maybe because you need to dedicate time, or you need to be immersed in it.
mm.
If I lived in Slovakia or I lived in Ghana, I
You
would
have
learn.
to. Yeah.
You learn to survive and stuff, right? You pick it up, you move on, you do this and things. But with the boys, I don't want them to lose the fact that they're part Ghanaian and things as well.
Mm,
So I'd love them to, when we head back, or even maybe speaking to my brothers or, their extended family and things in London. Because even some of my nephews and nieces and stuff, some know bits of it, but they don't know fully. So,
mm-hmm.
there's a learning curve and stuff there. And you're very dedicated and stuff to it. I might need to just be more. So maybe me and the kids can kind of go on that journey ourselves. Maybe bring you on that journey and stuff as well. So we all
Yeah,
learn
I
a
can tell. What
bit.
was it? I,
bit,
I
bit
used to know how to say, oh, man. How was it?
what to say.
Oh, artist. I knew it.
Okay, all
Didn't want
right.
you to
I'm
say
not.
it. And
I'm not saying you
that's
didn't.
high, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's always like with any new language and stuff. There's key phrases and things that you would normally use, and then as you kind of, it's just finding the tricks. It's like
Mm,
if you wanted to. I know it sounds really weird, but if you wanted to say learn Spanish, if you had a series that you knew inside out, and I think, like, say, I don't want to say it, but say you had like something like Friends, and you've watched it every episode, God knows how many times, so you
mm,
know exactly what's being said, but it's been obviously, say, Spanish, or it's been dubbed in Spanish or whatever and things. You would suddenly start to pick up, oh, that's what that word means. Do you see what
yeah.
I mean? It's finding like different techniques and stuff in order to make it fun while doing it. I
Okay.
know that while you occasionally we have like a bit of a an hour occasionally sometimes when you'll go through and do a few bits and things. When you're speaking to me in Slovak and you're trying to kind of say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is this. It's only until I start writing things down and I
Yeah.
understand, the how it is
We have,
grammatically
yeah. We
that
have
I start to understand. Yeah, I know what you're gonna say, but yeah,
what
it's
the school?
yeah,
Yeah. We
it's
have
it. Go on.
we have like I'm the teacher now. Once a week we started it, but then we just kind of stopped for a bit. Need to go back to it. But we had like I was the teacher, Slovak school, quote unquote, when I was
I
the
think we need a.
teacher, and the
I think
boys and yeah were students, and this is how, because I think that motivates them to, because it's one thing to teach them to speak, and something completely different to teach them how to write and read in the
I
language.
think I think in
Now
that
it
in
motivates them that you do it with them.
no, but
That motivates them.
what I'm saying is in that way that we were talking about the immersing, maybe
Mm,
it's not just about okay, you being the teacher or me being the teacher around teaching a certain language or something.
mm.
Maybe it's about we just do not speak for a day in a certain language.
Yeah,
And and from that perspective, all of a sudden things get difficult because you're trying to kind of find a
yeah.
word. But if you did that often enough and you interchangeably just did that
And we
after.
did that a few times, you remember? And I asked you something in Slovak. Of course, I knew you wouldn't understand, but your answer to everything was, I love you. Or yes, love, Ano laska, you said, because that's a good strategy. There's nothing you can't go wrong with that answer.
Yes, I know that, yeah.
Yeah, Ano
But
laska.
it's because we didn't do it often enough.
Yeah, but we
You
will.
know,
But yeah,
um,
yeah, we'll get to the tips on how to approach raising bilingual kids. But I wanted to say on while we're on that subject that it's a huge fun sometimes having your kids speak your language that your partner or husband doesn't understand, isn't it? And they did you notice they start using that when they
yeah, they
don't want you to hear something because
but
they know you would be angry or you wouldn't approve. They come to me and they ask me in Slovak.
I know that. And the funny thing is, I know what they're saying to you. It's like,
This
that
is how
they'll
you
say,
learn. That's the
no,
best strategy.
but it's one of those situations where when you know that someone's responding in a certain way or
Mm.
expected to respond in a certain way, and all of a sudden they're speaking. So it's no great mystery what their conversation and stuff is about. It doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to work out that you've just asked me, Dad, can I have the
Especially, yeah, when the
sweets
sentence
now?
includes a phone or
Yeah,
TV,
and
no?
you're like, I've just turned around and said no to you, and you've gone and spoken in Slovak to ask the same thing to. Okay,
And you use the word phone in the sentence, so
yeah, well,
that is not stupid. Although they think we are sometimes, which is fair enough. They're 7. But
mm,
how does it feel to not understand sometimes you don't understand what we talk about, but how does it feel? Because I know you support this, but do
yeah,
you feel like left out or
no, not at all,
good?
because if it was a situation where it's continuously in Slovak. But then again, it's also down to me. I've got a responsibility to, if I want to understand something, to take that on board and
Mm,
make the effort to understand it. No,
yeah.
there's conversations that I wish that I've had with your mum more so, uh,
Mm,
than having a bit of a laugh or a joke and things
yeah.
that we don't always, well, we don't have. It's, you know I've always felt like, your mum's always been very patient sometimes and things, and she's even gone to
Oh,
schools to try and learn English.
yeah.
So maybe I need to kind of do that, not just with Slovak, but with Tree and stuff as well, because
Yeah.
time
It's
is
easier.
passing,
The
right?
older you are, the harder it is to learn the language. So although my mom put a lot of effort
Mm.
in that, it's not easy. So it's much
And
easier for the kids to learn
and
and better for
how
them.
often
Yeah,
would she use it?
exactly.
It's that whole, when you're using it and you have to use it, then it suddenly becomes a part
Mm,
of something that you have to,
yeah,
you just have to do it.
but they have it now with my mom. The boys that they teach her, but she teaches
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
Which
just
is
amazing
nice.
to watch. Yeah, I
It's,
recommend it to everyone. Like if you struggle to decide or you don't know whether you should go down that path, then 100% I'd say it's hard. I think
mm,
I underestimated how hard it actually is. And I would say like if you need, I don't know, maybe tips or advice on how to raise your kids bilingual or multilingual,
mm,
100% I'd say, and this is not just my experience but from what I've seen around me, is to, it sounds awful, but to force them to answer in your language. Because if you just motivate them or you, oh, I don't know, try and like
just
sometimes um, it just doesn't work. You need to, I don't do it 100%, of course, but it's, I have 3 of them. So maybe if I only had one. But when I force them, like, I don't answer to, if you don't tell me that sentence in Slovak, that's the best. They are annoyed. They're like, oh, oh. But they get the message.
yeah,
And later on in life, they'll be grateful. Now they're
I
annoyed,
think so.
but
I think
later
so.
on, and even now, like when we're in Slovakia, I can see how like they, how happy they are when they can communicate. So I
Mm.
think it will just click one day that it's not just because mommy is annoying. um, it's just
See, and
it's very special. It's so special. I can't describe. So it's not about the actual language. Doesn't matter if it's language that 5 people on the planet speak. It's not about that at all.
no, I think I need to be a little bit more naggy. I need to, you know, pull my finger out and
Yeah.
kind of, because it wasn't when I was growing up. It just, there was no real emphasis. Even though my
Mm.
brothers, my family did try. I'm not saying that they didn't try. They always tried to get me to speak Chi. And like I said, my mum always spoke to me in Chi. My dad always, most of the
But they
time,
never
spoke.
no forced you. They never.
No, I think they just got to a point where they realized
Mhm.
that,
Okay.
you know,
At least
I would
you
understand,
could understand. Yeah, that's very important.
but
At
I
least
need to
that.
do
Yeah.
more. I need to do more because it's easy to kind of let something slide. And if they're ever to go, or when they go to Ghana, they'll find it difficult.
Mm.
And for that, I don't want. I want them to go back and be able to
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
converse, you know,
At least
hear
them, yeah.
stories.
It's a bit
Yeah.
too late for you, but for
Thanks. Cheers.
I'm sorry, but you're old.
You're
I'm
never too
sorry.
old to learn
It will
something new.
it will never get old that you're old. Sorry, go on.
I said it, you're never old to learn something new, ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Depends what it
Because
is.
no, it isn't. You're never too old to do anything.
I
All
know,
right.
I'm just joking.
I
Jesus
know.
Christ, just calm down.
Oh,
But say you're 70 and you want to be professional ballet dancer, then probably, I don't know, that might be a bit too late.
you know. You just need to find
Actually,
your
no,
way.
yeah, just realized no, it that you can be the first ballet dancer who started in their 70s. That's true.
Thank you.
That's true, yeah. Thank you,
Thanks.
Angel.
No, thank you.
But now
I
I
hope this
forgot
doesn't
what
get
we actually
I hope this doesn't get edited out.
of course not.
Because you do all the editing.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
don't come
actually
back.
you have no control over it. You have no idea what I actually leave on. How does
Well,
that
I do if I
you
jump
must
on the
trust me actually.
yeah. I think now I don't so much and maybe I should start listening to it a little bit more. But
Now you will.
yeah, exactly. I think I will
Oh
now.
no, but we talked about you learning Ghanaian. That's yeah, that's where we post. So yeah, I highly encourage it because the more languages they learn, the better for them, and the I don't want to say smarter they will be, but the way their brain works, it is different. I can see that, and
Yeah.
I feel always sad when I see parents who don't teach their kids, their first language. I don't judge it. Don't get me wrong. Of course, like everyone has their reasons, but if there is no good reason not do it, I would 100% encourage or recommend that.
Mm.
100%. It's just amazing. It is
Okay.
different when your child tells you "I love you" in your first language or your second language or anything else for that matter. It just to me when you hear things in your second language, it goes to your brain, whereas when you hear it in your first language, it goes to your heart. That's how I feel it. Yeah. It's even you, Angel, when you say something nice to me in Slovak, that just lands differently. But I
Okay.
know then it doesn't feel the same for you when you say it in the language that's not your first language. So it's just yeah, interesting. But also another thing that uh, many people maybe don't realize is that when you encourage learning um, the language, even if it's really useless language, like I said,
I
you
don't know why you
actually
keep
you keep
saying
them.
that. Why do
Oh,
you keep saying that? That
it
it's a
is
useless
like
language.
in the world, like it's not like when you speak Spanish or French
But
and
you
you
know
have
what?
open doors in the world.
That's not it. I really don't feel that's even a thing. Because
Okay.
like one of the big things, like we mentioned before, is about connecting to who you are
The
and who,
culture. Yeah,
yeah, and
exactly.
who
Yeah.
you don't
But
know you are.
the actual language, I'm just saying, you can't compare it to Spanish, say, like in terms of
But
you.
who knows? Who knows what the future is going to bring, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
You
Fair
don't,
enough.
as
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure there are languages that weren't as high on,
Yeah.
so globally kind of spoken and stuff, but they've gained traction and stuff, or certain languages that were
Yeah.
previously but
Yeah.
aren't around. How many people, although it's taught Latin and stuff, how many people speak Latin on a
Yeah,
daily
that's
basis?
true. Yeah. That's true. It's like Polish, for instance. Yeah, now it's becoming an international language. Yeah, and who would have said that a few years back? Yeah, but it's actually amazing when you can speak Polish these days. So that might be the case as well. That's
I think
true.
just learning a,
Any
a new
language, yeah.
language.
But
Yeah,
my point was that you actually keeping languages alive this way because
yeah.
if we stopped learning or teaching our kids our first language, then what? We end up with English only. And it's not I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's just I would be sad, a little bit sad, less colorful. Funny thing is that when the first words you learn in Slovak was fu and we, no, because of the kids.
Mm.
It's just funny. No rude words. Just I didn't even teach you. You just knew.
No, we learnt from thingy, didn't we?
No, I mean you knew because you saw how I used it. So and then
Oh,
my cousin's
yeah.
wife taught you.
And it was our
Sorry.
first time up in Edinburgh and stuff,
Yeah.
right? Remember we went for a
Oh
walk,
no, yeah.
we went for a tea or
Cool.
something,
Yeah.
and it was just
And then she said
that walkway.
Slovakians are so open about body functions.
Yeah,
Oh yes. You are informed about everything we
and
do.
it's never stopped from there. So I
It
thank you
sounds like
very
you're
much.
complaining, Angel. I
Never.
just I
Why?
just like to keep you posted.
Thank you.
What's
I'm, sh-
happening?
I'm sure the audience is so happy to be posted as well. But anyway,
No, it's just like the last thing I wanted to maybe mention is that you know what I'm sorry for, and my
yeah,
mom is as well, that you
yeah,
two can't really speak properly. I mean, you can,
yeah.
but you
I
can't at the
think,
same time. Once you had so much fun when you used the translator, remember? That was
yeah.
so funny. But I knew you would get on so much better if you just could speak because, you know, but this what it
No,
is.
no. I think I said mentioned it earlier on and stuff. I think one of the things that would motivate me also is like if I could speak to your mum a bit more. Um, I could see that she's got a good sense of humor.
Hmm.
Well, you know, all your family does, and I'd love to be able to just turn around and, you know, say something funny, something random that they wouldn't
Yeah.
expect, like I do in English, but I just wouldn't find the words and stuff in Slovak. So
Hmm.
I'd love to be able to do that and just,
Yeah.
you
But
know, just
whenever
have a
that
laugh
happens and I
and things.
translated, you have good laugh together. That's nice.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is nice. And my
So,
dad can
sorry, go on.
speak a bit more, but it's
Oh,
very
your dad,
basic. But at least there is something there. Yeah.
your dad's hilarious. Your
Yeah.
dad, but you know, I think we've both been fairly lucky with families and how they
Hmm.
are towards each other, and you know,
Yes.
mum's amazing, dad, sister, Malek, Mayek,
My yak.
everybody, you know,
Yeah.
Mayek. Everybody's just, you know, we've all gelled, and
Hmm.
for that, you know, I give gratitude and stuff for,
Me
which is
too.
on that
Me too.
front.
And
I
it's
think.
just nice because in my previous relationship there was no respect towards my family, and that really stays with me, and it's just something I will never get over, I think.
What's
So
it?
it's just
Yeah, I was gonna
that's
say, which
why I love you even more for that, you know.
I was gonna say, I find it so strange. You family are cool, right?
I know,
It's
right? Oh, we
absolutely.
diverted big time now, but just
Mm,
somehow, somewhat naturally, it just came up. Yeah. So speaking the same language is it is important. Although sometimes you can speak the same language and you don't speak
yeah,
the same language, but
but no. I think from our point of view, we've both just got to make sure. You've already started and stuff with the snowboard, but I've got to get my finger out and
mm,
start. So maybe in a year's time, we come back to this, and
yeah,
you know, we just go on progress and see if things have changed or nothing's changed, and you can mention in that whether I'm doing a little bit more of the technical stuff, um,
mm.
which I hope I'm not, but there we go.
You just don't want to just
See,
show up.
I absolutely just want to show up. That's exactly what I want to do. I don't want to do anything else but show up and then say like little bit and stuff and a little bit of funny bits and then walk off and then my
Yeah.
job is done.
Nice, nice to share. But since it
See that?
was initially
that
it was my idea, although you now love it just as much as I do, I don't mind at all, my love. Sometimes.
See, that would be funny in Slovak. See, the world's
Oh,
missing my sense of humor in Slovak. So you know what? That's given me. the incentive to do it in Chi as well as
You
Slovak.
want
Thank
you want
you.
to educate Slovakians on a proper sense of humor, you want to say.
Oh, absolutely. I'll put that out there. Put
If
that
that
out there on the
helps to
podcast. Yeah,
motivate you, whatever works, my love.
it absolutely will. So thank you. I'm sending out positive vibes and comedy by Slovak from my East End Ghanaian roots. On that front, I think we're done for today. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this podcast and realizing that I'm the funny one in the family.
We
And I
always
will.
end up talking about this. Always, whatever we talk about, we always with the jokes. It's just
It's
so
okay.
funny. No, but before we go, I just wanted to ask our lovely listeners to share their stories about raising bilingual kids, because we really want to hear your stories. And if you agree with us on this, or if you have any other opinions, it would be nice to hear your views and stories. And actually, that always helps whenever things, because sometimes it's so hard to keep going teaching them, because it's so bloody hard, especially when you're tired, you're done, and then you can't insist on, you want them to shut up, and then you're like, now I should ask them to say that again in Slovak. You think twice. But then whenever I see them interacting with people or telling me things in Slovak, it just makes it all worth it. So it's similar to parenting, no? When you just want to scream and hide, but then they do something amazing and you're like, oh. So it is a similar feeling, basically. Oh, I'm so full of wisdom today. We should record at least 3 more while I'm on fire, Angel.
You on fire. But I've got the incentive to be funny in Slovak and Chi, so
Yeah.
my
Are you
work here
Slovak?
is done.
Jesus, are you funny in Ghana?
I'm just funny, baby.
Oh, okay.
How can you? Doesn't the language barrier doesn't make a difference? If I'm funny, I just need to kind of work on the little kind of ad libs and little bits and stuff here. But
You mean Adam funny? Adam is Yaw's friend, who obviously is the funniest person in the world.
he was funny. Oh Christ! So you just put it on here. I thought he was. If he ever listens to any of these podcasts, he will never let that go. You realize that, right? But
No, I'm
whenever,
funnier, so it's all good.
but that was years ago, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so at least we understand.
You
Put
know
it into
what? We should invite him to be our guest.
that would be a
I just
funny
want to hear.
episode.
Let's
Okay,
see on that. Let's see on that later. Anyway, thank you so much
right.
for listening again. If you
Thank you.
haven't left us a review, we just lovingly want to remind you to leave a review for us, because it really helps to get this podcast discovered. So thank you
Absolutely.
so much in advance. Follow us on social media. We would love to hear from you, our listeners. So we don't want to just, talk about our views and stuff, but we want to make this interactive. So if you have any suggestions, what we should talk about, or if you are curious about anything or want us to talk about a specific subject, please let us know. We really want to know. We're not just saying that, we really mean it. Yeah. Saying that, thank you so much again for listening and for staying with us for this long. Have a lovely evening and see you in 3 weeks. Bye.